had to make a choice. Many times they were faced with a choice between doing what was right, between furthering the democracy and the Constitution, or embracing Donald Trump, and they chose Donald Trump.
Former Rep. Liz Cheney, a Republican from Wyoming, has called on the Supreme Court to identify that former President Donald Trump's claim of immunity in his federal election interference case is a tactic to delay the trial. Speaking at Drake University in Iowa, Cheney expressed her concerns about the court's decision to hear arguments on Trump's immunity claim next month, a move that further postpones the trial. Cheney emphasized the importance of the Supreme Court acknowledging that Trump's actions are intended to delay proceedings. She argued that it is crucial for the justice system to hold a trial and hold Trump accountable before the next election. Please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Let's move on into more exciting details. It cannot be the case that a president of the United States can attempt to overturn an election and seize power, Cheney said, and that our justice system is incapable of holding a trial, of holding him to account before the next election. That cannot be the case. As the former vice chair of the Jan 6 committee, Cheney received applause during her speech and expressed her trust that the Supreme Court would handle Trump's appeal in a responsible and expeditious fashion. She stressed the importance of the court not contributing to further delays, which would prevent the American public from seeing crucial evidence in open court. Recognize that taking action that will result in further delay in preventing the American people from seeing that evidence in open court is itself suppression of the evidence that the American people have a right to see, Cheney added, and the court ought to recognize that. Cheney's remarks come less than 2 weeks after Rep. Adam Schiff, a Democrat from California and also a member of the Jan 6 committee, questioned whether the Supreme Court would move quickly to reject Trump's bogus claim. Special counsel Jack Smith had urged the Supreme Court to act swiftly on Trump's claim in December, but his request was denied. Cheney's and Schiff's calls for prompt action reflect a broader concern about the potential impact of delays on the accountability process for Trump's alleged actions related to the 2020 election. Cheney's remarks on the importance of timely justice reflect broader concerns about political accountability, which also relate to the ongoing legal battles involving former Trump advisor Steve Bannon.
Bannon is due to report to prison by July to start a 4-month sentence for a crime he did commit.
House Republicans are supporting Steve Bannon's emergency appeal to the Supreme Court, which aims to keep him out of prison, he begged them. Bannon, a former advisor to President Trump, praised the Republicans for their backing. He is set to begin a 4-month prison sentence in July for defying a congressional subpoena related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. America First Legal, an organization aligned with Trump, filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court. This brief was supported by Representative Barry Loudermilk, R-Gay, and other House Republicans. However, the Department of Justice argued that Bannon's case does not meet the extraordinary criteria necessary to stay out of prison during his appeal. House Speaker Mike Johnson, RLA, mentioned on Fox News' Hannity that House Republicans were working on an amicus brief to support Bannon. They believe that the January 6 committee was improperly formed. Johnson stated that the committee's formation and activities were flawed, and this belief would be conveyed to the court to help Bannon in his appeal. Bannon expressed his gratitude, stating, Speaker Johnson and House leadership showed great courage in repudiating the illegally constituted J6 committee and its activities investigations. The broader context is that Republicans have earlier criticized the January 6 committee's focus on former President Trump. They released a report calling the committee's work dishonest, and Johnson described it as tainted. On Hannity, Johnson explained that the GOP was investigating the panel, which included 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, claiming it was improperly formed by Speaker Nancy Pelosi, D. Calif. He argued that the committee violated House rules, and this would be presented to the court to support Bannon's appeal. In the amicus brief filed on Wednesday, Representative Loudermilk, who chairs the House Administration's Subcommittee on Oversight, stated that the January 6 committee did not follow its own rules. Therefore, he argued, Bannon's prosecution for not appearing for a deposition is invalid, as is any criminal prosecution stemming from it. Bannon was sentenced in 2022 for contempt of Congress after refusing to comply with a subpoena from the January 6 committee. He did not turn over documents or appear for a deposition, citing executive privilege, even though the committee noted that Bannon had been a private citizen for over 3 years by January 6, 2021. His conviction was upheld by a federal appeals court last month. While Bannon seeks to avoid prison with the support of House Republicans, the party faces criticism from Democrats like Representative Eric Swalwell, who highlights what he calls the GOP's contradictory positions on legal and constitutional matters.
Who led those terrorists to their chamber was Donald Trump. He invited them there. He lit the matches, as Liz Cheney said, that led to the attack. And so this, for many of them, will be the last off-ramp, the last chance to pass judgment.
Let's take a look at Representative Eric Swalwell, D. Calif, who called out Republicans' hypocrisy toward the Supreme Court after House Speaker Mike Johnson, R. Ella, suggested the High Court should intervene in the wake of former President Donald Trump's guilty verdict. The hypocrisy of these guys. We back the blue. We back the blue. Well, L then the blue go and issue a search warrant on their guy, and all of a sudden they want to defund the police, right? Said Swalwell in an appearance on MSNBC's The Weekend. He continued, they say they're all for states' rights, and then they get a court that overturns Roe v. Wade, and now they want a federal abortion ban. And then they say that the court should be independent and respected, but by the way, if we need to, we can back channel to them. It's not about the Constitution. It's just about serving Trump. Swalwell's remarks arrived days after Chief Justice John Roberts turned down Senate Democrats' request to meet with him regarding Justice Samuel Alito, who is the focus of reports on controversial flag displays at his properties. The lawmakers in their letter asked if he'd discussed the need for Alito to recuse himself from 2020 election-related cases. Congress could act on Alito's flag scandal. However, it appears unlikely lawmakers would issue a subpoena to either Alito or Roberts, Politico noted. The Weekend co-host Simone Sanders Townsend, former senior advisor for the Biden 2020 campaign, tossed to a clip of Johnson's recent remarks that he knows many Supreme Court justices personally, and he thinks they're deeply concerned about Trump's hush money case. I think they'll set this straight, but it's going to take a while. You're right. The process takes a while to play out, said Johnson in a Fox News appearance on Friday. The Weekend co-host Michael Steele, former chair of the Republican National Committee, questioned Johnson's comments about thinking the justices were deeply concerned. He said, "For me, it's not a dilemma for Democrats in the Senate. This is not a dilemma. You demand the conversation with the Chief Justice because this is a flagrant violation of crossing lines politically." Swalwell's comments bring attention to perceived inconsistencies in Republican stances on law enforcement, states' rights, and judicial independence, especially in the context of Trump-related legal issues. Do let us know your views in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you are notified as soon as we upload our next video. Thanks for watching.